make sure that I can get back to that.
This one I'm going to help you all with. Regarding Proposition 3 on the ballot, where do you stand and why? And just so, in case someone doesn't know what Proposition 3 is, because this really is a very important issue. Entitled Other Boards and Commissions, be amended to require that all town and corporation boards, commissions, and committees be composed of citizens of the town of Little Elm, except as otherwise requested by law.
I think it's extremely important, again, the community taking ownership for our government. So if you're on a board, you should live here because you have a vested interest, whereas if somebody was from another community on a board, they're not going to have the same vested interest, the same burning desire to do what's right for the community as somebody would if they're a citizen.
Well, the problem that I have with that is that the Texas Charter says says different. So what the town council's trying to do is they're trying to go against what the state charter is. So I would vote no.
If I'm understanding it correctly, I don't think just because a person lives here or doesn't live here that they're not going to have valuable insight. You know, a lot of people live here, but they don't work here. So does that mean they care about their company or Dallas more because that's where they work? I would have to agree. I would vote no.
I was on the group that worked on charter amendments and was able to work with them. Some of the charter amendments were changed drastically between when it came out of our committee, such as Prop 1. But on this particular one, the thinking of the group is this: we live in a unique area. We have Lakewood Village, we have Oak Point, which is just over the property line right here. And they all come into Little Elm to do business and to be active. We have had a series of people in the working with Friends of the Library. And frankly, I think more money has come from people who were not citizens of Little Elm to help build up the library than came as citizens of Little Elm. However, what we are looking at is spending of tax dollars through our committees, and the thought is this, and I still support it, the thought is this, that if you pay taxes in here, you have a say in where they and how they are spent. If you do not pay taxes here, you can come by, talk to us, but not vote on a committee.
Yeah, I think a lot of it kind of boils down to what I've heard before from other candidates is that you don't plan for now, you think about the future. And what you have is a situation where that someone doesn't live within the city limits can come in and be a part of the process. Now, the problem with that is, as far as I'm concerned, is that later on down the line, as their cities grow, how would that impact their involvement in the city at that point in time? I feel that really internally we should have our local residents within Little Elm now as for in the future. That way they're planning what's going to happen now as well as 5, 10, 15 years down the line. And I think that's very important that the vested interest is internal.
I'm a little mixed on the issue. I like the whole idea that people who live here should be the ones serving our town council and on our committees and subcommittees. But one of the things I just read is that we're hoping to expand our area further down 720 and claim that as the incorporated Little Elm. What if those people who were living there didn't want to be part of that? And we said, okay, now you're part of our town. Maybe within a reasonable proximity, some of these people should maybe be allowed to serve in a capacity because what we decide as a town does affect them. I know that on the 380, there's this section here that says Little Elm, but the neighborhood of Paloma Creek is behind that section, and they don't get a vote for us. But one of my friends who moved out there says his address is Little Elm. But, so I'm not sure how I vote or how I appreciate that.
Simply put, if you have a vested interest in the town, you have a business, you have property, you should have a voice. I mean, the founding of our nation came from that, right? No taxation without representation. Same deal for Little Elm. If you have a vested interest here, then you should have a voice. You should not ostracize or exclude anyone. I mean, we see that as a larger debate, right? You know, everything from making English the national language to excluding somebody because they don't believe the way you do. If they live in this community, they have a say. If they work in this community and have a business here that contributes to our tax base, that contributes to your growth, your services, they have a voice here. Now, what that voice means is they can serve on boards, they can talk with the representatives that are here, and they should be equally represented just as somebody who has a home, whether you have a business or not. I mean, the point is that if you are here, you get a voice. If you live here or you work here, you need to have representation. I can't say it any plainer. Thank you.
I agree with this proposition change. I think that particularly on some of our boards, such as the EDC that controls tens of millions and possibly $100 million worth of things that are going to happen in our community, the people that are on there have to be from our community. They have to be tax-paying citizens. And my actions speak for themselves. I think it was my second meeting when I was on the town council last year. I was instrumental in making a change on the Economic Development Board. Having one person that no longer lived in the community ended up resigning from the EDC, and that's the way we wanted it because we wanted to have citizens, and I'm fully supportive of this proposition.